showing you a very simple horseshoe section that we established, but it's very low on the curve of the head shape. Okay? The inspiration probably lays in like post-punk, mid-80s new wave, where we had icons like Robert Smith from The Cure, which we took a bit as an inspiration here, because Victor was actually asking for layers in order to build up a shape, which I immediately could pick up on, that we actually need a little bit more graduation to build from below the curve of the head shape in order to get the results that Victor will love. Okay? So it's really important that we have a really good, simple communication with our clients, and that we, of course, make sure that we navigate our clients in making the right decisions for the right reason. Okay, so what we're going to do first of all is just establish a little bit of graduation below the curve of the head shape. So I'm just going to slightly turn Victor around, and so you can see here. Just going to slightly wet down the hair a little bit more, because I want to use a low tension to my advantage, and that's going to work very nicely. See, just placing my fingers on the top of the ear. With a low elevation, so the hair is going to be encouraged to actually build up towards the curve. Before we continue, I just want to make sure we get rid of the little hairs to the underneath. Okay, and then we just follow the line of our horseshoe, just working our way towards the back, low elevation, no tension, and combined with a mild point cutting here, not too deep. We still want to have a little bit of a slightly graphic feeling at this point, and then later the visual part will come more and more into place. I just want to really share with you that difference between building the foundation to start with and then loosening up as we proceed to the haircut. And just see how you can benefit from both more of a visual, feeling inspired technique, and then combine that with a very technical part and use both elements to your advantage. Okay, so what I'm going to do now is start at the back. Here we have the advantage of my partner Danny filming us, so we can go a little bit into close-up now and then, which is, I think, for you guys easier to follow. So nicely working clean on the skin. And then from the sides into the back, as you can see, I'm actually following exactly that curved line of the horseshoe. Okay, so now we're going to do the same on the opposite side. We're working with a balanced haircut here. Slightly wetting that down. When it comes to inspiration, it's very mid-80s inspired. And this is for me the era where I grew up as a teenager, and it's a huge inspiration. I mean, I think with any designer, whether it's in hair, interior or fashion, I think the era where you grew up as a teenager will be staying with you for the rest of your life as a huge inspiration. And as we know, what goes around comes around, so there is an amazing subculture happening right now where all these post-punk influences have a huge influence on the appearance. Do I dare to say fashion, because it's more a style-based culture rather than being influenced by fashion. But style representation eventually becomes fashionable in its own right, even though if it's not done on purpose. Personally, I'm very triggered by style, and definitely when it's a little bit alternative and out of the box. And I truly support a young generation of people being really triggered and influenced by these very specific alternative influences, which are very strongly musically inspired, which is again an element that totally rocks my boat. See, I didn't pre-cut the hair at all because I just wanted to take you on that little journey of technique to start with, and then show you how we can actually build it up more visually. But you need to know and figure out the importance of the technical part first of all, to be able to deal really well with the visual part. Okay, just double checking, nice and balanced. Make sure you take away the little hair to the underneath here, so we can consider that to be done and finished before we move on to the next part. So what I want to do now is go around the horseshoe, around the curve of the head shape, and just work with a deep point cutting technique. Just to create some texture there. It's detailed, it's not a huge amount of hair being released here, but we want to create this haircut from wet to dry, from start to finish, without having to go back through at the end after finishing the hair. I want to have a very loose, organic, lived-in kind of finish. So we're just making sure here that whatever we do, it's being done through the whole procedure of establishing a shape, working on a proportion, a balance within that shape, and also the texture. The sectioning pattern can help you with that because it's like the backbone of the technical part. It helps you to maybe translate a visual inspiration from a picture and make it into a technical establishment on a haircut, which is, I think, not to be underestimated. Because we're working on a fiber here that we need to get into place when it comes to proportion, shape and texture. So these are the ingredients we are able to control with products combs, brushes, and in this case, importantly, a pair of scissors. That's what I love so much about cutting hair, that it helps me to control the longevity of a haircut. Okay, happy with the base, so that was the technical part of my cut. Now we're gonna use the longer top area to our advantage to make sure we can start building up. So I'm just taking parallel sections to my original horseshoe. And now what's going to be really important is that we can see and follow the guideline and the choice of elevation. My choice of elevation here is described as 45 degrees. I can see the guideline from start to finish, and now the point cutting is getting deeper. So as we work onto the higher part of the curve, the technique is being loosened up. See, one blade is just cutting away, the other blade is guided by my finger. And this is where texture becomes super important. We have the foundation here. We do follow the foundation because this is going to make sure that the haircut stays into place. But now it's so much about the topic of what we have in here for the KMTV, which is the texture and the personalization of the shape. And I love already how the hair is responding. Even the hair is still pretty moist. It's kind of listening really well to the combination of products I used, but also to the shape I'm establishing here. And I think this is something really important that you need to see and feel as you cut the hair, that the hair is listening. You have control over the fibers generally, because it gives you a lot of confidence, and of course it makes sure whatever choices you make technically, it's relevant. It kind of works out, because it's my job to provide you guys with technique and inspiration. That's my job as an educator, because that makes sure that you guys have little time to invest in that, and the time that I'm investing as being an academy or an educator is very valuable for you to bring it on in literally one session or one class, and you can take it home to your salons, for your clientele, making sure that you use it to your advantage, you put your personal signature on it, and actually the inspiration starts to create its own little life. It continuously moves on, and this is the beautiful part of education. We have this wonderful global brand, Kevin Murphy, amazing bottles, the best ingredients, fancy names, but I think it's also the team with Kevin that nurtured a global team of how we communicate and how we educate all the people behind this wonderful brand that makes us so special in the market. And I think after what happened to the world, we need it more than ever, because I feel, being in the salon myself, that a lot of people are a bit lost for their identity, and we need to be able to live up to that. And then you have another part of individuals who are not lost at all, who actually really confidently found their newfound style or how they want to profile themselves. And we also need to be able to deal with that kind of confidence and you know, give our credibility to that look. See, nicely meeting with that point in the middle here. I have quite a few indications that the balance is really good. Now I'm taking another section all the way up. I love when the hair is nicely saturated with the right products. It's so easy to work very clean, get the right tension on the hair. See, actually I'm using no tension at all, and then at the right spot grip it. See, this is the part now where minimum amount is coming up, where I could see in the consultation, this is actually the length that sits really good. But that length is going to be put in a whole different perspective because of the underneath that's been cut shorter. So we need to understand that to create something new or something different, we don't always have to cut the hair everywhere. It's about dividing and first deciding of what we want, where we want it, the reason behind it, explain it to our consumers. You know, we have three elements. It's the how, the what. So first of all, what we're going to do, how we're going to do it, but then most important part of the communication, also for today here, is the why behind it. That's why you constantly hear me saying like, now we're going to do this because. Because you need to take the why to your salons. Because it's only the why that's going to help you with a reason of why we should be doing it in the first place. I think confidence is very important. We on a daily basis, we are so exposed right there in the field. Lots of mirror, lots of individuals, and I think the consumer now, they want to pay for more than just a haircut. I think they want to feel a whole experience where they are individually, personally understood by the hairstylist. And then they need to be in that really good environment with cool magazines and great music, so they feel really comfortable in that place, which is so very often overlooked of how intimidating it can be what we do. You know, I'm actually chopping a dead fiber here that's attached on a human being's head, which I've never met Victor before. Okay, so it's quite a sensitive, intimidating procedure. I do feel the trust in Victor, but this is something we have to gain. This is something we have to earn and deserve. And just working my way up now, all the way to the top. See, we're creating a pretty multi-textured feel just by chopping very deep into the hair. So we're actually not using any thinning scissors or texturizing scissors or razor blades because I actually don't want to manipulate or damage the cuticle of the hair. I just want the hair to respond different and have more texture. I think in Victor's case, it will result in a combination of texture and movement. I think Victor is happy with the movement, but on the other hand, he doesn't want to have any more. So we're trying to put the focus more on texture more than anything else. And that's why I have been using Smooth Again, which is one of my favorite products for straight hair or hair removal. Why? Because it creates a very sleek surface of the hair. It's not strong enough to make the curl or the movement go away. It just makes it a little bit smoother, as in individually the hair. Creating a strong consistency in how we point cut, it's really important, because no matter how visual the haircut tends to go, we need to have a good consistency in there, because this is not only going to make the hair look amazing, but that's also going to be the part that's responsible for having a good expiry date for the haircut. And I think if the expiry date is really good, then it might take a little bit longer for the customer to come back, because the haircut is going to sit into place for longer, but it's going to make your credibility as a hairdresser way higher. And I feel that in the salon, when the haircut is very easy to handle, as in styling it for themselves, and then it looks good at least for 2 months, it's so much respected by the clients. Now we're going to go square at the front and just deep point cutting that. This is the part when I saw Victor walking in that I actually felt really good about. So we don't want to take the fringe shorter, we just want to break it up a little bit and give it more texture, because the length is good. It's going to also bounce up a little. We could do this technique and making it all sitting short and free around the ears, but in the conversation we had earlier, Victor told me he would appreciate having a little bit of hair left sitting on the ears, so that's why we didn't go too short with the undercut. So the details we provided here are also very well communicated. See, I really like how the hair kind of slightly stacks up in that very 80s inspired way. It looks like it's layered, but it's actually graduated, just really loosely. And this is, I think the time has come now that I'm just going to top it up with a bit of Staying Alive. Staying Alive is for me my hero product on anything editorial or photo shoots. Would be my #1 product. I use it in small doses or huge doses, depending on the result I want, but I've overused it in different situations by far and still had an amazing result by it. So I can so rely on it. And yeah, I like to keep it sometimes a little bit condensed. You know, that almost slightly kind of glowy feeling, that kind of sweaty feeling that you see in the magazines that are a little bit more underground. See, I love the hair of how it responds. So I'm now gonna start with the diffuser and just start naturally drying the hair on a medium heat, maximum speed. Just kind of gently squeeze the hair in this way, no scrunching. Do it very gently. It might take a little bit longer to dry because of the amount of products I use. But in the end it will be all worth it because you will have an amazing texture for appearing. I think if there's any questions, we can do that at the end after I finish here with Victor. Hopefully we have a little bit of time left. Now would be a good time, but I don't hear very well, so it's not going to work out with the noise of the hair dryer and maybe trying to communicate. The idea is now to just get the hair dry, and then as the hair dries, I'm going to take the diffuser off and just kind of roughen it up a little. I'm looking for very low maintenance, effortless hair that looks very well looked after. And it's always a personal ambition of mine to let the customer walk out of the salon exactly like they can do the hair themselves in a very easy time schedule in their own bathroom. Products are a huge help with that, of course, but putting the right haircut into place is also, of course, a very crucial part of that. I mean, one of the things is that when you work in the salon, you get the clients that you deserve. And that's the fortunate thing. But you need to be able to do the work that you want to do in order to get the clientele that keeps you going. And that requires effort, that requires navigation, it requires to showcase the best version of yourself every single time again for every individual that walks in. A haircut is something you can't do, so I think you'll never be out of a job when it comes to that. But I do have stylists coming up to me that say, look, we need your input because we are a little bit bored, because we have a boring kind of clientele. And the first thing we need to do with that is to make the stylist understand that if the clientele is boring, it's because probably it's our own fault, you know? It's our own responsibility to make sure that they are not boring. And that could go from a simple classic bob to a one-way haircut where you can also put your excitement in doing it very precise or making it very classic and very relevant. Making sure you have a passion for everything that's related to what you do in the salon, that relates to the job. See the relevance of the little details that make the job so wonderful. Give yourself time to do the job really well in the salon. Make sure the clientele is right, the environment is right. Surround yourself with the right people to help you on that journey. And don't be misled or mistaken. On that journey, because it's sometimes very confusing having people around you to actually support you and make sure they lead you to the top within your salon. Look how nicely that hair is stacking up and falling beautifully. It's just a combination of the product, the diffuser, and of course the haircut. And when that moment comes, then everything falls into place. This is like the glory of your work that you share visually through the mirror with your consumer. This is why, we're so exposed, not only working with all the teams together on one floor, all the clients being together on that floor, but also that momentum of having to transform someone's hair, and there is no way back, you can't bring the dish back to the kitchen. It's one of these things that straight into that mirror, it just happens. And I love that probably the most about my job. This is where for me the challenge is every single day to make it better and better. I'm very style-based. I love style over fashion, to be honest. So when you hit a certain style, my aim is to reproduce that style better and better and better every time. So just squeezing the hair into place, no scrunching, just being gentle on the cuticle. I was talking about the mirror. Actually, here I don't have a mirror, so sometimes I'm used to it, working backstage and doing all this variety of work behind the scenes. I think it might be a little bit harder for Victor to have the trust now at this point, but I'm sure as soon as we expose Victor to the results, he will be very happy, because I could very much read him when it comes to his whole look and the style of that. Okay, so the hair is probably around 90% dry. We don't want to overdo that. It's a very good movement in there. This would be the point where we might be overdoing this. So you can see a very strong post-punk, mid-80s reference going on there. This is exactly the aim for today. And as today was about personalization and detail, I thought having a strong individual with a strong exposure of individual style would help us to get that message across. Okay, so now I'm going to stand up Victor, and we can have a look at the final result here. You'll see it all starts making sense. I think Victor can see himself in the mirror now.